Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Game of Funds, a podcast about revenues and exits, where Norm and I play around with funding, venture capital, private equity, and exits. Norm,
Hello,
how
Mario.
are
How
you?
are you today?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. You doing fine?
I'm
No missiles
breathing.
over your head?
No, I'm breathing. All good.
You're breathing? All right.
All
All
good.
right,
Yeah,
that's yeah, that's okay.
yeah.
So, we have a very exciting topic today and a very exciting guest, I would say. The
True.
topic for today is AI investment landscape in 2025 and 2026. And who better to talk about it than Maria de la Puente from Capital Bridge Partners? Maria, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Maria.
Well, thank you for the invitation. Very nice to be seeing you and be at this show. Yeah, I look forward to our podcast.
Same
Love
here.
it. Love it. This is going to be a fun episode because what we will do is basically take the subject of AI investment landscape and then tackle it from different angles
Angles.
and different views. Correct.
Yeah.
Right? So Maria, before we dive in, tell us a little bit about, tell us a little bit about yourself, growing up, how did you end up in Canada, and what are you currently doing? And then we will just dive straight into the topic.
Sounds great. My name is Maria Alejandra de la Puente. So it's a long name because I'm from Latin America. I am from Lima, Peru. And I'm also a Canadian citizen. I have more than 20 years working in capital markets in Latin America and in North America, leading with investors in Europe, in North America, Latin America, some in Asia. I've been in different disciplines in capital markets, investment banking, venture capital, corporate finance, project finance, and investor relations. And for the last 5 years, almost, 4 years and a half, I have been doing basically venture capital. So that is helping startups to grow, to scale, and to raise money. Most of them are in sectors like cleantech, healthtech, biotech, technology, telecommunications, and some are just in very specific technology sectors like fashion, tech, or transportation, for example. Recently, I'm also supporting a university for a short time. I'll be supporting a university on the very early stage technology creations that are going to be patented and then licensed to some partners.
Love it. So
Impressive. Thank you, Maria.
very impressive.
We're very lucky to have you today.
Yeah.
Very
So
happy to be here.
let's dive in. I'll throw you a statistic immediately, like what is currently happening, and let's talk a little bit. So in 2020, only 14% of all of venture capital funding went to AI projects. Come 2025, Q1, it's 71%.
Yes.
So a huge discrepancy there, right?
Yes.
So you said you worked in clean tech, health tech, other sectors that are kind of, not like non-AI, right? So how do these companies that are not AI based, how do they cope, or how do they find funding? So what is happening with that specific landscape when VC funding, so venture capital, gets this concentrated?
Yes, sure. Well, first of all, let me tell you that all of these companies that I'm mentioning, most of them have the AI embedded in their technology.
Of course they have. Of
right?
course they have.
So these are companies that are, most of them, software-based, or it's a hybrid between hardware and software. And within their software, most of them have AI, right?
So
And most
well,
yeah.
my question to you is, yeah, of course they will either say they have AI or they will put AI, but it's not kind of natural to have it, right? It's not the native thing. So are they putting AI engines because no way they will get funding if they don't?
No.
Or
Yeah.
or it is genuine.
It is genuine, certainly. I mean, their AI softwares have been developed in order to reduce cost, so generate cost efficiencies, okay? Generate revenue opportunities, reduce processes, or probably eliminate or reduce greenhouse emissions. And all of that, as a consequence, as a whole, generates better returns. So better profitability, more productivity, better returns. So it is genuine, and that is the value proposition, right? That this is a very specific technology that will allow your company to reduce cost efficiencies by 30% or unlock revenues by so much, etc. So it is totally genuine. Probably there is a misunderstanding, not necessarily in the market, but in general, for any person who is new to AI, to believe that AI is only something like ChatGPT or AI, the predictable AI, or some of them have heard about the generative AI, which is something different. But you also have the AI software that engineers could create for any type of application. That's what we say, that this technology is the most transformative technology in this century, because you can embed AI softwares in any type of applications, from healthcare to cleantech to transportation. So for example, let's say in healthcare, you can use AI to discover better drugs, to help you discover better drugs. Or I have seen, for example, in biotech, AI to be able to send the medicine exactly where it has to go without damaging the other parts of the DNA, for example. That is very specific. Same thing in the medical sector, surgeons. Surgeons are not necessarily cutting, right? But they're using AI in the way they're viewing the body, and then with a laser and the help of the eye, making the surgery. Same thing in transportation, or same thing in water tech, for example, in having radars that will let you know which are the best spots to collect water. Or AI in the EV sector with the electric vehicles. I mean, now that we have to try to, at least in Canada, by 2050, everything has to be net zero. Yeah. And we were thinking that by 2030, all the cars will have to be EVs. Yeah. But the problem that we have right now with the housing and the buildings, the existing buildings, is that the existing electricity capacity is not enough.
It's not enough.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not enough to afford all that demand. So now with AI, you can optimize the supply of that electricity within
and shift it very quickly.
Infrastructure. So it is in every application. It's not just ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is very interesting, and again, it's I could say I represent the common people, okay, if I may, in this call. So me as a, in let's say under the hat or using the hat of a consultant working in organizations, CEOs, CROs, they are familiar with AI as a concept, Maria, but you're truly correct on that. It's it is more perceived as something or some version of, let's say, ChatGPT as a concept, rather than something that does, optimization. So for me, for example, working for Oracle for a decade and a half, back then we were selling systems, that used to do inventory management or, project management or whatever that was. Uh, just imagine what would happen if we would back then have an AI capability embedded in every different systems, in order to optimize processes or whatever. So this is absolutely brilliant, if I may say. So
Yes.
one question I have here, Maria, I hope you can share some light with this. We tend to, or at least the common people, I represent the common people, so we tend to, think that we need huge servers and big, let's say, AI organizations such as ChatGPT to be able to, let's say, recommend things in a more, let's say, reliable way. But if we embed a piece of software into, sorry, we embed an AI into a piece of software, do we need this, you know, big organization of servers and databases or data centers, or is this something else? Again, it's not
Yeah.
maybe a part of the discussion, but it prepares me for the next set of
Sure.
questions in terms of investment.
Yes, that's a very valid question. We have to think that AI will be embedded in everyday life from now on, and that companies are not only investing in AI, like developing AIs on their own, but also using AI,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
Yes, we have the AIs that are tailored to different applications. And we have the generative AIs or the predictable AIs or the AIs like ChatGPT that will use a lot of data, right? And all of them will use data, but these ones are going to be like encyclopedias of data, right? And these are the data centers that we're talking about. For example, the US is investing a lot in Texas in just this type of data centers. This is a different story because here you will have an open AI, right, with several buildings in Texas, just to respond
Just to
to
process
inquiries,
everything.
process
Yeah.
everything, respond to inquiries, and analyze things, and so which is that demands a lot of investment in the infrastructure and the computers,
Yeah.
right? The computers at the same time, uh, that comes with their cons, right? One of them is what people call silver farms. The silver farms are these buildings that are, many floors, one on top of the other, just with computers, that all of them are generating greenhouse emissions.
Mm.
And actually, the AI, every search that we do, let's say in ChatGPT, consumes like 30 times more, I cannot say the exact number, than a Google search in terms of electricity.
Yeah.
So imagine the demand of electricity that is coming and the pollution that we're going to give to the world. So we have to prepare to that, right? But
Maria,
so
Maria, sorry. This raises up a very, very interesting question when it comes to investments themselves. And I know you have a next question ready. Well, let me just throw this out there.
mhm.
Since you and I do talk a lot about private equity, right?
Yeah.
So venture capital invests in AI, but private equity buys data centers, and they began buying infrastructure,
True.
And
electrical grids, coal, nuclear, whatever, right? And this is the fundamental difference between what private equity does, which is selling shovels when there's an AI, rather than investing in maps and gold mines that VC do, right?
True.
Remember 3, 4, 5 years ago, blockchain was all of the rage
Yeah.
Yes.
in Web3. And then before that, it was something else. And before that, it was something else. But private equity is very cost conscientious. And I just don't see them investing in this type of a businesses. What they do is they will invest in shovels, not in
Well,
not in maps and gold mines.
no, but that is an estimation, right? Or let's say
Yeah, of course.
a
Yeah.
logical guesstimation, right? It makes sense what you're saying. But I
Yeah.
think there's more to this, right? It's which, you know, prepares me for the if you know, and Maria's right? I think that, you know, the challenge going forward in the next 20 years, 15 years, 30 years will be, you know, building, basically accumulating electricity or accumulating energy for that,
Yeah.
because everything's going to be electrical. And at this point,
Yes.
as you know, as Maria mentioned when we had a chat before we started, we don't have enough of that. This is still not available. It's not.
If we don't build a Dyson sphere, if you guys
Yeah.
are familiar with the concept, you don't know what a Dyson sphere is? So a
No.
Dyson sphere is a theoretical object in space that is capable of harnessing the 100% of energy of a star.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and it's a sphere that goes around. Let's say you build it just on the edge of Earth's
Orbit.
eclipse over the orbit over the sun, and you build a sphere that harnesses the entire, and then you get just unlimited energy, or until a sun goes supernova.
And that is a very good point. That is a very good point because this is another area that is attracting investors, not as the mainstream yet in terms of climate tech, but it is happening. We have been investing in terms of climate tech or clean tech in climate mitigation, okay?
Yeah.
Which is reducing greenhouse emissions, creating renewable energy sources, and all of that. But unfortunately, we have the Paris Agreement, right? That many developed countries have signed, and we have committed to reduce the temperature of the world. But we're not going to hit the target. Our target is to be below 2.5 and try to reach the 1.5 Celsius plus, right? But apparently, we are being too selfish, I guess, as society in general. And even if we try to do all this type of mitigations, it's not going to be enough to reverse the 2.5 plus Celsius in temperature. So the new, wave of investments in climate tech and clean tech is what is called climate adaptation.
Okay.
Which means that we have to assume that we're going to learn to live with earthquakes, with river floods, with tsunamis, with tornadoes.
Yeah,
okay.
true.
So
Droughts.
Exactly. So what technologies are we creating to protect us from that? Drought, exactly. So yes, there are many technologies already that are being created, for example, for drought in water tech, right? Or for example, to predict earthquakes, or to try to optimize the uses of the electricity, the grid, in case of a weather problem. And same thing with tsunamis, protecting the housing. The insurance companies are investing on this because yes, they need this. Otherwise, they're gonna lose millions. Look at Florida, and look at LA with the forest fire.
True.
Right? So this is something that is happening as well. Another sector that I also see that is growing is the military sector. Right?
I wanted to ask about that. Yeah, you actually,
the military, many.
Noam is former special forces.
Yeah,
Still in hard cells.
services to the military, services to the military. Something else that I'm seeing that is becoming very important is critical infrastructure. So what are we doing as countries, especially, for example, the NATO countries? We have been, I mean, Canada, right? So we have been asked to not only list all the critical infrastructure that we have in Canada, but what are we doing to protect those assets, those critical assets? For example, we have the Trans-Canada pipeline. As you know, we have a cold weather in the winter, but very cold. We cannot survive without the heat, which is natural gas. I live in Ontario, and the Trans-Canada pipeline comes from Alberta. Natural gas from Alberta that is transported to Ontario and Quebec. If we are hit by a bomb or a missile, something in the Trans-Canada pipeline there in the winter, we freeze to death. So, okay, so all the technologies that will help protect critical infrastructure and also allow communities and families and these organizations, businesses, to be self-sufficient in terms of the basics, water, in terms of food, right? So there are many technologies already on a smart, gardening, for example, right? Same electricity, heating, cooling, right? And then we have healthcare.
Maria, let me.
Sure.
Sorry, let me ask you then this. You've talked about the critical assets, and we touched on climate and clean tech, health tech, all of that. In the end, VCs want return on investment.
True.
That's the way of the world, right?
Yes.
Most of these, please correct me if I'm wrong, but clean tech, maybe not the most profitable, I would say, sector.
Today, but this is today. This is today, yeah.
Right. So how do you see, and this is question kind of for both of you, right? And I would like you to know, maybe to kind of tackle this from your angle, right? You do live in a desert, right?
Yeah.
What is the underlying motivation of the VCs investing in clean tech and health tech and stuff like that, where they know most likely they will not get their investment back, but also, on whatever multiples and whatever valuations, especially if you attach the words AI to it, valuations just kind of skyrocket. Like, hey, I have a clean tech, and then my valuation is 10 million. Oh, I have a clean tech AI, and suddenly my valuation is 50.
Yeah,
which
totally.
is by the way, just show you that valuation has nothing to do with reality, but the way reality is being perceived.
I know exactly where you stand on it.
The thing is that the AI will help you get more clients, because the AI will give you competitive advantages of reducing costs, unlocking revenues, reducing processes, then accelerated revenue, and probably, and certainly not damaging the environment. So I will say that right now, the investors are not thinking as much as they did in the past with the environmental impact. Okay, they're thinking more than the environmental impact on the returns, and the clean tech startups that have the AI gives you that. Most of them have the AI. That's the truth. Most of them have the AI. Now, something else that is important to mention, that's something that I believe, that's my personal opinion on this, is AI depends on the internet, which at the same time depends on the satellites. So that is telecommunications. We're already seeing that one of the main threats in this global tension, in this war, is, the war above us in the satellites. If you can send us a missile, and they're having testings already of, I'm not going to mention which country that have tested it, sending missiles to shooting exactly the satellite they want to get rid
to
of.
take down,
Exactly. So if they, bring down our satellites, we're toasted.
Yeah, there's no use for anything, obviously. Yes.
Nothing. So what do we have at the end? What do we have at the end? So we have, the food that we have been able to plant next to us, the water that we have been able to collect, right? So we go back to the basics, right? So that's why I'm saying that the mainstream is changing still. And that's why also the AI investment landscape is huge, but it's volatile, because you can see that, there are countries that are still being a little bit reluctant with AI, because they see that it has to be more regulated because of, the accuracy, the intellectual property, the sources of the data, the transparency, the cybersecurity. We're seeing that the governments are getting more involved in the use of AI, but also investing in AI on the regulation of AI.
Hold on. The 2024, I think 2024 report or 2025 report of Harvard Business Review, this is actual data, says that less than 5% of all AI initiatives by Fortune 1000 companies have been successful. Right? We know who runs the world. The Fortune 1000 runs the world, right? We can say it's governments, but let's not kid ourselves, right? So, wait, 5% is successful?
Yeah, I know.
So,
yeah.
If only 5% is successful, how is, or what would you say to the young, enthusiastic entrepreneur trying to invent the next healthtech or cleantech to save the planet when the odds are so stacked against them?
Yeah, and I'm already seeing that. Because some of these AI developers who are funding companies, they don't have an engineering degree, right? Or a computer science degree. They have studied, AI coding. And at the end of the day, we investors, and well, not the users, but we investors, what do we know about the AI, really, about the technology, besides the fact that it's coding, and we don't understand the coding? We're just buying what they're saying, that it's the competitive advantage. It's going to generate cost efficiency. It's going to let you get more revenue, and all the things that I have mentioned before. But how do we really know that this is going to happen? Because
nobody knows.
They're failing. Why are they failing? Why? Because these founders do not have the working experience of, let's say, working in Motorola for 15 years and learning about organizational excellence, process, quality control, ideation. When you're creating a product, it's back and forth. Give it a try again, give it a try again, until it works perfect, and it hasn't really been validated. Right. And
so I agree with that. I think, Mario, as an engineer, if I may, for a second, we can always go back in history and see many, many, many technologies that didn't stack up. And you tend to think that maybe the technology is not good enough. But when you really go deep into that, you've seen that the problem has nothing to do with the technology side. In some cases, the technology is even superb. It is most of the times, as you know, Maria is saying, the drivers of those technologies simply have no idea what they're doing.
Totally.
And you know, if I'm going, I can go 30 years back, right? Which is which is a bit of a time, right? And back then, 30 years ago, the mainstream was about computer communication protocols. So they used to have this ATM protocol, and there's the TCP/IP, which, by the way, TCP/IP today is basically the internet, right? It's the TCP over the IP. This is basically how you're communicating right now on Zoom. But ATM is much better, faster, more rigid, more secured, but it failed. And the reason of failure, it was has nothing to do with the technology. It simply has to do with the fact that the companies that drove this, you could say, technology were not successful in, you could say, conquering the market. And the early adopters of TCP/IP were basically, you know, it just
Exactly.
boomed faster. So even the statistics that you're taking from Harvard Business Review, I think I stand, you know, with Maria here saying I can literally imagine that most of them, or you know, the non-successful ones, are simply not driven by, let's say, professionals, business professionals, but rather, you know, coding experts and you know,
Exactly.
engineers that
Well,
don't know how to
the,
drive that. Which is, you know, we spoke about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, that brings me to my next, and I only have two more questions. I am conscious
Yeah,
of the
we
time.
need to be conscious of the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's mid 2010 saw the like war for talent, right?
Mhm.
And then it kind of died out. COVID hit, there was like the big resignation, and it kind of died out. But we are now seeing that all over again with AI talent, right? Especially there was this very nice word that was called acquihire, right? You would just acquire a company because of the people. You don't give a crap about their tech and whatever they were building, right? What I'm seeing, and it's not me, the data shows that acquihires are actually resurging, especially hunting down AI talent,
Mm,
which is
Mhm.
becoming extremely expensive.
Exactly. We are seeing that there is an organizational change, right? Since the arriving of AI, we're seeing that the workforce is changing. But it's interesting is that not only that you know the companies are looking for AI consultants or AI data specialists, right, or statistics, right, but also people who are specialized on governance for the
mm,
AI, governance for it.
Mm.
So that's another career that is becoming more interesting. And something else that I have seen happening as well is that coming back to this 5% success rate on AI startups, what about the other 95%? Well, the clients of those 95% AI startups have rehired the employees because the AI software that they acquired didn't work out.
yeah.
And it didn't work out as we mentioned, because probably they didn't have um, the right business model, or they didn't know how to excel at the go-to-market strategy because they're not business people, right? So I still
They're just
see
building
that things are
products no one wants to
changing.
buy. It is simple.
Yes, things are changing. Things are volatile. What it is true is that we have to learn to use AI. The person who doesn't learn to use AI at work in whatever position this person is going to fall behind. We have to
True.
learn, right? Even if then in your organization you stop using AI because of ethical reasons, or because it just the software that your organization purchased, wasn't really what they expected, but you have to learn.
True.
Yeah, yeah. Maria, first of all, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
at the podcast. This was for me, it was really fascinating because you kind of opened the doors to how, like, I had a very set opinion on where AI is being deployed when it comes to the VC landscape, right? And then you show up and say climate tech and health tech and all of those things, especially, and the show that really fascinating. So my last question to you is, you've been what, 20 plus years in capital markets, right? And you saw, I guess you saw everything, right? Different hype cycles. We mentioned blockchain, we mentioned, the
.com.
Web3,
Yeah.
all of that, like, and from different vantage points, right? From
Yeah.
Peru, North America, Canada, banking, VC. So my question to you is, what everyone gets wrong about AI investment that you think should be common knowledge or conventional wisdom?
Yes, I believe that in the case of these AI startups, you have to really look at the team. How well prepared is the team, because it's not just about the coding, right? So if I am an investor, and I have said this before, I will be, and certainly I'm an investor, I'm not an engineer, right? So I don't know about the coding. I will hire a third party. And if that third party can come from the government or the provincial government, better, right? A third party that is neutral to validate the technology. That will be the first thing that I will do. And then as an investor, I will definitely assess, the market, because I have to understand if they're pricing well, for example, the technology that they're offering. And that depends on the type of problem that they're resolving, and how big it is in terms of not only scalability, but in terms of, money, how much are they saving to these clients? And then this is a technology that is well priced, right? And at the same time, well, the revenue model, does it make sense or not? Is it going to be stable, predictable, and long term? And same as well with go-to-market strategy, because if you don't have, if you're not aggressive with the go-to-market strategy, if you're not really, go deep in terms of, it's not just saying, okay, direct sales or network, okay, but who is in your network? Who? Okay, so in the first year, I'll have so much in revenues. Okay, so that is how many companies are already in your pipeline that have shown a letter of interest. But that you have approached and have said, yes, I want to buy this year. Not just seeing a presentation with a projection.
Not just looking at the pitch decks.
And beautiful value proposition, but then
everything falls apart.
Everything.
Well, which brings us, Mario, to basically what we talk about for our entire life, right? Which is the art of selling.
The art of selling. Yeah. Well, my last comment on all of this is, if you build stuff no one wants to buy, you can be the best salesperson in the world. No one will buy it. Or maybe you can sell it, but it'll churn after a month or two or three, right?
But think of it this way, what's different about AI from the others, let's say, hypes out there. And we've all been there. We've seen that. Some of the cases we did enjoy, even personally, from investments, because a hype is a hype. I think that the AI is going to be, from my point of view, a problem solver rather than just an enabler for something. And I think that's maybe the big difference. And I think that also contributes to this huge movement of, private equity, VCs, and, other types of investment, houses going and tapping into this, looking to see what needs to be done, in order not to stay, as Maria said, if you're falling behind, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
And I believe that is also an enabler, because you're being more productive and your employees will spend less time doing more work, And that available time will be, oriented to new things or
Yeah.
creating new things. Right?
Well, that's I would say a very optimistic view of the world. We will see what happens. Biggest problem with AI that I have is they're trying to replace human thinking. In the past, every time we had a technological breakthrough, it replaced a lot of manual physical labor. But this time, they're creating machines to think.
Yes, yes. And that is,
And I think without, and call me a radical socialist if you're in the United States, or call me normal if you're from Europe, but some kind of basic universal income. Like as Bill Gates said, you have 10,000 robots in a factory, we want to tax those robots.
Yes.
We want to tax those robots. That's my that's my TED talk.
what we don't want at the end of the day is an AI, a generative AI, taking a decision on who lives and who dies. For example, in hospitals, we need so many beds, and well, the AI has already.
Or we need oxygen, right? So, who gets the oxygen?
Exactly, same thing. Who gets the
No,
oxygen?
this got dark real quick.
Yes, but it's but think of it, that could be a realistic scenario that needs to be addressed.
Yeah,
certainly.
Yeah.
Or in the
Maria.
military. Yeah.
Maria,
we have the limit of
conscious of our time. We could go on and on and on. I think on this topic, we're just endless and endless.
No, but the recording needs to be limited because there's a
yeah.
commitment to stay on track. Yeah.
So, Maria, thank you. First, thank you so much for joining us. This was again phenomenal talk. Noam, I know this Game of Fun series was kind of a learning
for me it's
learning
class.
experience for you specifically, because as you say, you are the user and you're kind of entering this world. So
no, this has been amazing. Thank you to both of you for inviting me. I look forward to watch the podcast, the video, and it has been a lot of fun as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Noam, let's finish off as we always do. To every listener sticking so far, please go out and sell something.
Yeah, pick up the phone.
Pick up the phones. Ciao, ciao.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.